It's not like, oh my gosh, it was such an accident, I can't. No, we don't have accidents in our culture, okay? If you're staying up late and you're in his apartment, you're setting yourself up for failure. But someone who's hunting has a more intelligent process. I'm gonna ask him about this. I'm gonna challenge this. I wanna see how he does in admitting he's wrong. I'm gonna see how he does if I have a feeling. Does he hear me? Or am I just like talking to someone who's not gonna be there for me? Okay? How she thinks about him has more weight than how she feels about him. Thanks for staying with us on this topic that's so crucial for women, and that is finding Mr. Right. I know here at Healing Time, we are dealing with the real struggles of Christians in real situations, in real life, in real time. We're not preaching at you, but rather equipping you to be better ministers to the real life issues that face you, your family, and your friends. Today's absolutely no different as we talk about finding Mr. Right. Today, we're going to grapple with what women believe about the dating process. Now, this is a big idea as it relates to dating, and that is to hunt or to be hunted. Sounds dramatic, sounds like a great movie, right? Women tend to believe in one of these ideas with all of their hearts as it relates to finding the future husband. So I want to cover each of these ideas as we walk through this, because if you can discover what you believe, you can decide if you want to believe it, if that belief is helping you, or if you want to change the belief. Because being made in the image of God, we can evolve, we can change, we can grow. And being exposed to something, I can tell you in my life, being exposed to either a lie or a truth, both have helped me significantly. Because what I believe is where I will go, I will behave, and I will become. So let's talk about this idea to hunt. Now, this woman believes she is responsible for defining the basics about her future mate, okay? Which, if she gets Finding Mr. Right, I actually give you a whole grid. It helps a whole lot. But she doesn't give the responsibility to the male. She gives it to herself. She is to locate where this type of man might be. And may I suggest he's in church. If he's not in church and he's not serving in church, he's definitely not at the bar. He's definitely not at a dance club. He's definitely not in a social setting where you don't know what's going on with him. But she decides, now where am I going to look for him? Okay, she seeks out such men of God. Now notice, I'm saying men of God. I'm not saying boys or men. Because she's already decided she wants a man of God. Because he's the best male there is. He's the new creature male. And that's the best one to marry. Girls, I'm telling you, that's the best one to marry. He's under the authority of Christ. He's serving a local church. Anyway, she is willing to initiate and have a vetting process for a potential partner, okay? She doesn't mind finding out that he's such and such and talking to him and encouraging them to get together. She doesn't mind. We talked in an earlier show about having a mentor couple and having that set up. She's on top of this stuff. She wants to be proactive because she's hunting for the man who she is going to marry, okay? She's not willing to do all the work in the relationship, okay? She expects him to have at least equal effort towards her. And she's looking at that and going, wait a minute, I've initiated 3 days, he's initiated any. This guy's he's not gonna work. I don't wanna be carrying dead weight for the next 40, 50 years of my life. He doesn't know how to reciprocate. Oh my gosh, he's an absorber. And she's like, wow, I'm glad I realized that in the first couple months, so I didn't give him my heart, my life, my body, my soul, my kids. She's evaluating how much is going back and forth. Now, she might definitely incorporate the wisdom of others in her decision process. That would include her spiritual mentors, her mentor couple, her dad and mom, people she respects, okay? She would hold herself accountable in the process. And I mean accountable. What's going on physically? What's going on emotionally? What's being said? What's being done? So that she can present herself with purity And she can tell him, you're going to be accountable to these people. So you don't get to do this. We don't make this decision together. We'll talk to this couple before we make this decision. Her decision to progress is more principle-based than emotional-based. She's like, you know what? I'm not doing X, even if it's a kiss, until this. A certain amount of time, we've gone through certain stuff. It's not like, oh, I feel the moment. She's principle-based in the way she's approaching it. She identifies why she's moving forward in a relationship. If we're going from hands to kiss to etc., she has identified why. It's not like, oh my gosh, it was such an accident, I can't. No, we don't have accidents in our culture, okay? If you're staying up late and you're in his apartment, you're setting yourself up for failure. But someone who's hunting has a more intelligent process. She might test her assessments during the relationship. I'm gonna ask him about this. I'm gonna challenge this. I wanna see how he does in admitting he's wrong. I'm gonna see how he does if I have a feeling. Does he hear me? Or am I just like talking to someone who's not gonna be there for me? Okay, how she thinks about him has more weight than how she feels about him. I need to repeat that, okay? How she thinks about him has more weight than how she feels about him. Now, right now, I know I'm messing with some ladies because they're like, oh, your feelings are the most deceptive thing you possess. They're real, they're true, they can be heard and be validated. You do not make decisions on feelings. Feelings are not truth. Truth is a person. His name is Jesus. Feelings are not truth, okay? So she's able to look at the attraction, but it's subjected to the principles. Does he fit the man of God grid? Because if he doesn't, it doesn't matter what feelings you have. You're building a life on a faulty foundation. And someone who's in the hunter process is looking for the firm foundation, okay? And this woman tends to set the pace for boundaries physically. No, we're not doing this, we're not doing that. You need to understand, first date, this is not happening for you. So if that's your agenda, go ahead and end it right now. She's clear on who she is, what she wants, and where she's going. That's someone who's hunting for Mr. Right. Okay, and she's the person who would probably buy this course and go through it more than once because she wants to make sure she's doing the best thing for her kids before she has them. The other woman believes with all of her heart that they are to be hunted. She believes she is to be found by a man like she's some like little jewel in the dirt, right? A man must be attracted to her person, or to her beauty. A man must initiate the relationship for it to start. He leads the entire relationship. When you get there, he leads the sexuality of the relationship. And that's dangerous left to a man for sure. The word of God should be what leads that, not a man or a woman, okay? The word of God. Emotions are given a higher priority than principles. How she feels is going to determine what she does or how fast this relationship goes. She often prioritizes evaluating him and rarely involves other opinions over her own. Oh, it's what I think about him. I think he's wonderful. I think he's caring. I think he's great. I think he's cute. Instead of asking someone, saying, what do you think? Well, he doesn't have a job. So what are we doing? He's supposed to provide for you. See, they won't ask other people their opinions. She is more likely to believe what he says than to evaluate his behavior. She's a lady in waiting to be found. That's her storyline. She might be looking for how he benefits her rather than how she is to benefit him. Only you can tell if you believe you're hunting for a spouse or you're waiting to be found. But it would be best if you evaluated what you believe. Now, believe your past behavior to tell you where you have been on these ideas, and then actively choose which you want to believe. That is the truth as to how you behave. A woman should hunt or be hunted, then evaluate this belief. Choose actively how you want to go towards the dating process. Proverbs talks about, as a man, and I would say a woman, thinketh in her heart, so is he, so is she. The thoughts you have about dating, if they're not based on principles and the Word of God, they can be emotional. You want to choose this process, and you're a free agent in this process. You can choose to be any way you want to be, but at least look at the options here. In Finding Mr. Right, I have women work through a workbook to fine-tune the ideas and the paradigms that they believe about dating, okay? We want to be able to know what we think. It's so important that a woman ask herself many questions in the process of dating if she's going to get better results in that process. Because my experience as a therapist for almost 40 years is one bad idea can lead to many bad choices and have a significant amount of consequences that affect her and her family for a very long time. So let's do better.